Hello everyone, thank you for joining me on Zoom today. We're going to be painting a little snow scene from the US bank calendar, which is really cute calendar, into little mats with little pieces of paper. This is what my little mat looks like. It's a little white mat with a little purple liner. I like purple, so I'm trying to use purple in my picture. This is what it's going to end up looking like. So this mat has a little bit of damage right here, but I'm not going to worry about that. So the first thing I need to do is get a nice circle drawn on my piece of 140 cold pressed paper. So if I flip my mat over and line it up this way.
Oh, I can't see you.
You can't see it?
I don't see you doing it.
Okay. Okay, so here's my piece of paper. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to angle it so that when I draw a circle around in my paper, I can't see the line. I have it angled. Now when I flip this over, I have a circle on my piece of paper that is slightly bigger than the hole in the mat. So when I put it together like this, the pencil mark is covered up. So I'm going to paint into this circle now. I'm going to start with my first. Here's the picture I'm working from. So this is a US bank, Year of the Ox, and every one of these has an oxen in it. I took out the oxen and the little girl, and I'm just kind of doing the little scene instead. So what I'm going to do, the first step, and then I'll pause it, is I'm wetting my paper. Oh, I bumped it. There we go. Make you guys dizzy though. So change your color so that it matches your mat, because all the mats are different. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of manganese blue mixture, it's called. It's the only paint that has true manganese in it. And I'm going to just very lightly just make it kind of soft up here. I paint all the way out past the mat, the line. And down here's a little bit of snow. Just very light. It's a little bit lighter in the middle maybe. And that's the first step. I'm just going to start with that. Just put a little wash on there of manganese blue hue. I just blow dried my manganese or my cerulean, and I just think this is so cute, but I'm just going to focus on the little mountains. So the mountains in the far back are the lightest. So what we're going to do is make a really pale back mountains and put a little salt on it so that it looks like it's snowing a little bit. One of the things that's tricky to do, well, it's not tricky, but we're going from a square format to a round format. So most of the, or all of the composition rules still hold true. So we're going to make that top mountain right there. It's not going to be in the center of the circle. It's going to be off to the side. So that's where I'm going to start, is my top farthest away mountain. And I'm going to just use manganese blue or cerulean and a little bit of permanent violet bluish to just make that. So there's my manganese blue. I touched my paper towel. I'm just going to start at, I'm going to pick my spot, so I'm not at the very top, but slightly to the right or left. For me, it's going to be the right. And I'm just going to make my top mountaintop. Coming down, and then another peak. Goes down. I've never been to China, but these kind of look like the Grand Tetons. Now I just mixed the tiniest bit of permanent violet bluish into my brush, into my puddle, and I'm going to put some of that down the right side of the highest peak and over here on the right side of each of the peaks I just painted. And then I'm going to just soften those with water so they kind of go down to nothing now. So that's a disappearing edge. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt in the darkest part of that mountain that I just painted. And I'm going to let it work. If it works, we'll see. Can't really blow dry that with the blow dryer now because then the salt won't work. So that's the next step. So my next step is to add a second layer of mountains. It's really the same colors. If I want to make it a little bit darker, I can add a tiny bit of French ultramarine blue into it. And that will darken it up. Now, the thing that I want to make sure I don't do is put the top of the second mountain directly below the top of the first mountain. And I also don't want to put it exactly in the middle either. So I just want to be just a little bit off center here. And I just put this second layer of mountains in. And I'm going to have them go up and out the side. And then this is going to be a disappearing edge coming down. So I'm just adding water so that it goes just to nothing. So there's so little paint at the bottom that you can't tell where it starts and where it ends. And I'm going to put a little bit of violet into my puddle and make the right side of all of these a little bit violet. Just love these two colors, so I'm going to use them. So there's a second layer of mountains. And I'm not really even to halfway down my circle yet. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to these. Not a whole fistful, just a couple speckles on each little peak. Oh, it's pretty damp. Hang on, I gotta dry it.
Mary Kay, can you turn your sound on?
I don't think she was talking.
I was talking. Yep, I forgot to unmute myself. Thank you. Okay, so I just made a little bit, the same colors, a little bit more French, a little darker, and I'm just going to put in this kind of a dark mountain right here on the side. And then I'm going to make that be disappearing. Just paint out past my circle. And I'm going to kind of just make that disappear this way too. So I'm going to put a little salt in it. I really like that ox. I might try to put him in later. Okay, so that's going to work. So there's one little set of mountains. If you want to put in a couple more peaks anywhere, you can put in all the little mountains you want. I think I've got enough. And now here's the new part. So here's where you'll want to, if you're painting, kind of look up. In my little picture, I have a snowbank right here, goes up on this side, and it's light here and darker above it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint above the snowbank going up this time. So I take the same color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to French ultramarine blue. If I use burnt sienna and manganese, I get green. So I'm just trying to make kind of a gray brown, which I think I got just there. And I'm going to start lower than the half, quite a bit lower than the half, about here. And I'm going to start. I'm going to make it come down and then just kind of go across and very quickly get a water and work that line. It's got a little more brown into it and sort of make it like the shape of trees. I'm just kind of scrubbing in the shape of trees going up. And so I have this sort of misty, looking back into it sort of look right there. And again, I'm gonna add a little more salt. So I add salt each time. It has to be damp when I add the salt to make it kind of look snowy. And I let the salt work. So that's the next two steps. Another set of mountains and a disappearing edge going up from the snowbank. So my next two steps then are to put in these little trunks here and the blue part of this bush. So I'm going to take the same brown that I just made, which is burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue, and it's pretty light. My paper's dry, I dried it, and I'm just going to pick a spot here and start at the snowbank and very carefully paint with just the tip of my brush some tree trunks. And they skip a little bit. These are coming off at about 45-degree angles. They're pretty, this artist has made them very straight, and I'm making them more bent and crooked. So again, the bottom has to be thicker than the top. So I'm making the bottom thicker. So there's one, and then there's another one here that's a little darker. So each time a branch comes off, it gets skinnier. And now what I want to do is put a few more in, but I want even less paint in my brush. So if I just touch my paper towel, take out some of the paint, I'll have a very, very dilute paint. And then that just makes it look like it's farther back or more in the mist. I'm just using the very, very tip of this brush. Every branch comes off at a approximately 45-degree angle. I'm really trying not to make them all exactly 1/4 inch apart. So if there's one that's close, super close, that's good, and then farther away. So it's really, you have to override your brain and make these be different distances apart. So there's the little tree trunks that go into the fog. And then the next step is I'm just going to make some of the same color as the mountaintops, manganese blue and or cerulean and a little bit of purple, very pale paint, and I'm just going to sort of blob in some little circular spots for a bush. And I'm leaving holes so that I can put the branches in later. I'm going to put some purple in that, violet actually. And I'm leaving openings so that I can put the branches in. I think this will look good with salt. If I end up that this painting, the salt didn't work on any of this painting, then I can just get some white paint out and fleck it. So those are my next two steps. Then that's going to dry, and then I'm going to put, the last step will be put in the tree, a couple little dead branches, and then the branches into this bush. So my last three steps are to put in the big tree, the branches of the bush, and a couple twigs. The way that I'm going to make the dark brown is burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue. It's just going to be my darkest brown, my thickest paint on the whole painting. I just mix them back and forth till I get the kind of the shade I want, I guess. If I add more blue, it turns more black. If I add more brown, it turns more brown. And I just did that. So it's still in the same brush. Now, one thing that I like in the sample painting that I did was the bottom of the tree here is rough. So it's not flat right here. And so the way that I did that was I just sort of, I'm using a different brush now. I just kind of made some, I'm going to backtrack and say something. So this tree starts lower than the snowbank. So where it goes into the snow is in this area right here. And I don't really need to use a different brush. I'm going to undo that. So I've got my brush. It's all loaded with that beautiful dark brown paint. And I just, at the bottom here, I just don't want to make a smooth line. I want to make a big bumpy line like there's snow in front of this trunk. And it's about right here. So I'm just making some bumps like that. And it already looks like there's a snowbank in front of it. And then from here, I just make my brush strokes go up. If I was really good, I probably could leave some little white flecks of snow. I don't think I'm that good. And again, this artist that I'm copying made this very straight. All these lines are very straight, but I'm more of a crooked tree kind of girl, so I'm going to be more crooked. I don't want it to go straight out the middle of the painting. I want it to be going out over here. So I'm kind of aiming for over there. Again, it gets smaller as it goes up, starts the thickest. The big branch comes off. That's a very thick trunk. I kind of like it. Maybe I'll make this even thicker. And then it goes out. each time, again, if they go off at an angle, they branch off. They can crisscross, tree branches all crisscross each other. That's probably enough extra tree. It looks very, very symmetrical, so I feel like I need to make something go out this way. Or maybe this way too. That's enough. And then, so I've got a tree in there that has a nice bumpy bottom. You could, I see in here there's a rock. I'm going to leave that rock out. But now what I need to do is put in some branches to this bush. So it's the same thing at the bottom. They're thicker and they get thinner as they go up. And they also stop and they catch in the little holes. So where I have paint, I stop and then I go and start again. So it's kind of just catching. So I paint until I hit the color, then I stop, then I start the paint again where the paint has stopped, so in between. And what I did perfectly here was I made those three bushes, those three branches exactly about 1/4 of an inch apart. So I'm going to put in another one that's off center, not smack in the middle, but really close to enough. I did it anyway. So hard to make yourself not do that. You can have a little couple coming out the tops. And then, so that's the little bush. This artist has put a little straight twig right down here. And I think I will too, but I'm not a straight twig maker. I'm a crooked twig maker. So I'll just put in a little couple dead branches down here. And if you want to put in the oxen or the little girl, maybe you're making this for your granddaughter, you could put a little girl walking in the snow. Just paint her in and then put a little bit of shadow underneath her feet. I feel like there should be some shadow kind of underneath this tree a little bit. There isn't any in the painting, but I think I'll just put in a little bit of shadow using my mountain colors, the purple, just like that, just to kind of set it into the snow a little bit. And then, oh, I didn't sign it. Oh, well. Maybe I'll just do MKJ here on the side or in the weeds. There, MKJ. Could have, yeah. And then when I have this all done and I just put my little mat over that, hide the lines, and I have this sweet little painting that welcomes the new year. Oh, look at that sweet little painting. It's so good.
Where can I find Doris?
It's just beautiful. That is a beautiful little painting.
Keep it up for a second, please.
Okay.
Very nice. Doris is frozen on mine.
Oh.
Oh, Penny.
Wow.
Oh, I love it. You put the ox and the little girl in it. And you made them big and everything else. I like the tree.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
We may have to repaint ours now, Penny.
Yeah,
Repaint
I
over
like the
it?
ox in it.
I
Yeah,
like that.
it.
To repaint over it?
I'm gonna have to do another one to make mine look like yours.
Oh,
Yeah.
just like that little girl.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Cool.
It's really cute.
You see?
Oh, look at you. It's so good.
Thanks.
I like the
Simple.
color, the yellowish color that you put behind it. It kind of.
Quinacridone gold, right? Q gold.
Oh, and your
Because
salt.
this kind of has a gold little.
Yes,
thing in
perfect. Way to
Yeah.
tie that in. And I like your little bushes in the front. They're so
Oh, good.
messy and they look like bushes.
Thanks.
And I like how the salt worked in your trees or in your mountains, like kind of bigger in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, good.
That's fun.
Good.
I didn't have, oh, go ahead, Sharon. Yeah.
Let's go to Vicky. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, you added, yours looks good in your mat too. And I like your tree and your bushes, everything. So good. Really, really nice. Just beautiful. Thanks, Vicky.
Yeah, I didn't have a mat, so I cut a little paper, but then I took my thumb and smudged the ink or the paint. So my trunk is completely blotted into my paper, which is, that's fine. It's just a
Yeah.
little,
It'll
little
look
picture.
really cute when you get the mat on it I think your box will be there in a day or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did kind of smudge up my trunk. I'm
No, I
not
like
sure I
it
can
smudged.
salvage that.
You know, it's
So,
good. Yeah.
all right,
And
thank
your
you.
mountains are really feel like they're going back and back and back. You've got a lot of dimension.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
fun part.
Yeah.
The tree, not so fun.
Okay. Getty, you
Yeah.
next?
No mat, but
Yep, same. Oh, it's lovely. I
Yeah.
love all your,
Oh, nice.
I don't know what to say. It's just lovely.
thank you.
Yeah,
I
it's going to look
Can't
great
wait to
on
see
that.
the mat. Yeah,
Yeah, really nice.
thank you.
Oh, you guys are so good. Okay, Elaine, let me get you pinned. Here we go. Oh, it's good, Elaine.
Oh,
You guys are so good with your disappearing edges.
oh, very nice.
Oh,
Yeah, you have little snow in front of your trunk there and your little branches, everything really good.
Hey, thank you.
Laura,
Laura, let's go to Laura.
nice.
Wow.
Oh, Laura, look at you. It's beautiful.
Very nice.
Your mountains have more brown in them. It's more like, I feel like, well, you know what? They match your mat.
Mhm.
So it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So I know we have Mary and Nina and Chris and Shauna to go. Let's see, let's go. I don't know who, well, I'll go with Mary because my cursor's on hers. Okay. Oh, yes.
Mm.
Look at your
Nice.
little forest of trees. You really feel like that's a forest of trees. And all your mountains are going back and back and back. And I like the colors that you put into your mat. Really good, Mary.
Thank you.
So Nina, I saw you were ready. So I'll pin Nina.
I have to find myself so I can see what I've done.
That's what I did.
Unpin Mary, there. Okay, there. Is that in focus for everybody?
It's coming in focus, yeah. Yeah,
Pretty-
oh, it's, you got, that mat's very interesting. It's because it's got the 3 layers. It's the only one that ended up with 3. And you did beautifully with those mountains going back.
Really beautiful.
Just beautiful. One of the things I haven't mentioned that everyone did just really, really well was the composition in a round mat. So that's tricky, and nobody put that mountain up the center. All right, so I think we have we have Chris and Shauna left.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well,
We'll go to Chris. Shauna, you can.
I did mine in a different mat.
Okay, you did it in a long one. Oh, it's
Oh.
beautiful.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah.
Like a whole different layout kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Yep, that's what happens. As soon as you change the format, then you have to adjust everything. Yeah, and I love the colors that you used and the little gold liner. Yep, very nice. Your mountain has that back mountain has a beautiful light side and a dark side to it, a beautiful shape.
Yeah, and I kind of like the pink sunset thing going on too.
Mhm. Shauna, are you brave?
I guess. Is it comedy time?
I don't know.
My tree got messed up.
Oh, it's good. It's nice. It's got a big old trunk. Yeah, you did beautifully with all your shapes and connecting your. I love it, Shauna.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
love it too.
good. I'm so glad you painted with us today.
Me too. Thank you.
Nice.
Well, that was a very fun lesson, and
It
I
was
thank
very
you
fun.
so much for
Very
joining.
fun. Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, I think we're off to a good start. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks for
Bye,
the
guys.
bye everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Mary Kay.
Bye-bye.